Hello everyone, welcome back to Rabbit Recaps. In today's video, I'll be recapping a comedy/action film from 2016 titled Luck Key. Before we get into the storyline, I hope you're all doing great and having an amazing day. The story starts on a rainy night. We see a man wearing plastic gloves and a plastic suit. But he's not wearing the suit to stay dry from the rain, but he's wearing it to avoid leaving any evidence. Then, we see a well-dressed man walking past the killer's car, holding an umbrella. Suddenly, the killer steps out of the car and stabs the man in the stomach, killing him. After that, he hides the body in the car trunk. Then, the killer drives away. He removed his suit and revealed his true identity. His name was Jack. He checked his watch, and at the right moment, he drove away. The next morning, we meet a young man named Harry who was frustrated with his life. He dreamed of becoming an actor, but couldn't find any work. He was completely broke and struggling. Suddenly, his landlord knocked on his door, saying she had brought him noodles. Harry tried to ignore her, but the noodles caught his attention, and he couldn't resist. When he opened the door, the landlord started shouting at him for not paying rent for months. She warned him to pay by the next morning. She also told Harry to take a bath because the house smelled like a sewer. Left with no choice, Harry went to a public sauna to clean himself. There, he noticed Jack washing his face at the sink. Jack was washing the blood off his hands when Harry noticed his expensive watch. He quickly realized Jack must be very wealthy. While Harry was taking a shower, Jack entered the sauna. Suddenly, the soap slipped from Harry's hands and fell on the floor. At the same moment, Jack was walking by, stepped on the soap, and slipped badly. He fell hard, hitting his head on the floor. As Jack lay unconscious, the locker key in his hand fell right next to Harry's feet. Harry, along with the others, rushed to check on Jack. When Harry bent down to return the key, he hesitated. Instead, he swapped Jack's key with his own. After Jack was taken to the hospital, Harry went to the locker room and opened Jack's locker. What he saw inside amazed him. His eyes lit up as he found Jack's expensive suit. Harry walked out confidently. He went straight to his landlord and paid all his overdue rent. Then, he returned the money he owed to others, repaying everyone who had helped him. Harry finally sat in Jack's expensive car, feeling like everything was a dream. He thought he would wake up any moment. Realizing it was wrong to keep Jack's belongings, he decided to return everything to him at the hospital. When Harry reached the hospital, he saw Jack mentioning his name. But the truth was, Jack believed his name was Harry because that's what the doctors had told him. Due to the head injury, Jack had lost his memory. When Harry discovered this, he panicked and quickly left the hospital. Later, when Jack was discharged, he realized he didn't have any money to pay the bill. A kind paramedic named Lena felt sorry for him and decided to pay the bill herself. Jack, now clueless about his identity and his past, promised Lena that he would repay her someday. Lena offered to drop Jack at his home, but since Jack didn't know where his home was, their story took an unexpected turn. Lena asked Jack his name and age, but Jack didn't know. When he checked his documents, they stated he was 32 years old. Hearing this, Lena was shocked because Jack looked much older. Meanwhile, Harry found Jack's address and went to his house. He was stunned to see such a luxurious mansion. Harry, who had been poor all his life, had never seen such wealth. As he explored the house, he found several uniforms belonging to Jack. Some were military uniforms, while others were police uniforms. On the other hand, Lena and Jack followed the address from the documents and reached Harry's house. Seeing the poor condition of the place, both were confused. Jack couldn't understand why he would live in such a house. Just then, Lena received an urgent call on her radio about an accident and had to leave immediately. Jack wanted to repay her, but Lena told him they would meet again later. Harry was relaxing in Jack's luxurious house when he decided to turn on the TV. However, instead of regular TV channels, he saw the live video of a girl from the neighborhood doing yoga. This unexpected scene left him completely shocked. Meanwhile, Jack was trying to find out more about himself. He decided to step outside and talk to the neighbors. He tried to start conversations by knocking on their doors, but everyone assumed he was a salesman trying to sell something. Eventually, Jack saw a stranger who seemed very angry. When Jack started asking him questions, the man attacked him. Jack's arms and legs moved instinctively, and he defended himself. Jack couldn't understand how he managed to fight back so effectively. Later, Lena returned to check on Jack and found him lying on the ground, coughing. He had been trying to smoke a cigarette, but was struggling with it. Seeing this, Lena was sarcastically remarked that if he couldn't smoke properly, he shouldn't bother trying. Jack responded to her with embarrassment. Jack told Lena he found a lot of cigarettes at home and thought he must be a smoker. Lena spent some time with him and noticed Jack was very skilled with knives. Seeing this, she took him to her aunt's restaurant, hoping to get him a job. At first, Lena's aunt didn't want to hire Jack, but after Lena pleaded, she agreed with two conditions: that Jack had to talk politely and smile more, or else the customers would run away. Meanwhile, at Jack's real house, Harry was still exploring. He found more hidden money, expensive wine bottles, a collection of knives, and several fake ID cards and passports. Then, Harry noticed a board with detailed information about the neighbor girl, Ju. Suddenly, Harry heard some noise from police radios in the house. He guessed that Jack might be a police officer, and Ju could be a witness in a case Jack was protecting. Curious, Harry decided to find Ju's house. He started asking people in the building to locate her. Harry couldn't find Ju and returned home. He turned on the TV and saw Ju practicing something strange. She pretended to fall after hitting her head and kept repeating the same act. Harry realized the noise was coming from the room above, so Ju must live there. A while later, Harry went to her door and knocked. When Ju opened the door, Harry introduced himself as her new neighbor and tried to befriend her forcefully. But Ju wasn't interested and quickly shut the door. Meanwhile, Jack was working hard at the restaurant. Using his knife skills, he became a talented chef. His new and creative dishes started attracting more customers, making the restaurant very popular. A few days later, Lena visited Jack at home and told him he would receive his first paycheck on the 25th. Jack looked at the calendar on the wall, but Lena pointed out it was from the previous month. After Lena left, Jack turned over the calendar page and realized he had to go somewhere the next day. When he arrived at the location, he saw a man calling out names and seating people in cars. Jack asked the man where they were going, and he learned that they were all actors heading to a film set. Since Jack was living Henry's life now, he read his name and joined the group to go to work. However, on the set, he made many mistakes throughout the day. Meanwhile, Harry was following Ju to protect her. He went to the hospital to find her and learned that she was going on a trip. Later, when she came out of the hallway, Ju saw someone, got scared, and suddenly started walking in the opposite direction. Harry noticed her reaction. As Ju was walking, Harry noticed a man following her. He remembered seeing this man on Jack's board. Realizing the danger, Harry quickly took Ju to the parking area to protect her from the man. Later, in the evening after the shoot, Jack received his pay. While looking at the list, he saw his father's name next to his own. Jack's father was a barber, so he decided to visit him at the shop. When Jack arrived, he overheard his father talking to a customer about the Real Harry, believing Harry was a failure. Jack misunderstood and thought they were talking about him. Feeling disappointed, Jack quietly left the shop. Jack told Lena that before the accident, he was trying to become an actor, and now he was working even harder to fulfill his dream. Meanwhile, that night, Ju packed her things and stood across the street, waiting for someone. But after waiting for a long time, no one showed up. She went back home and thought maybe she had the wrong date. She realized she needed to go next Thursday instead. Back at his house, Jack was busy preparing to become an actor. When he arrived at the film set, he was given the role of the hero's bodyguard. But when the fight scene started, Jack couldn't control himself. He jumped in and defended the hero. After the shot was completed, the director approached Jack and asked his name. Jack apologized, thinking he had ruined the scene, but the director was actually impressed with Jack's fighting skills. Next Thursday, Ju was waiting for the person again, but once more, no one showed up. Meanwhile, Jack arrived for his next shoot. He had to say some lines, but he was struggling to remember them. When the director said, "Action," Jack forgot his lines and only said 2 words. However, the director found those 2 words so interesting that he was impressed. After that, Jack had a fight scene, and he amazed everyone with his skills. Soon, his episode aired on TV, and many customers in the restaurant recognized him. People started taking photos with him, and gradually, Jack became more popular. As the days passed, Harry and Ju grew closer. They started talking more, and soon they developed feelings for each other. Meanwhile, Jack went for his next episode shoot, but there, the hero called the producer and started changing the story. He knew that the Jack was getting more famous than me. He had no choice but to follow. When that episode aired on TV, no one could understand what he had suddenly done. Anyway, that night, Jack's real house, a phone rang and Harry picked it up. The person on the call asked Harry to meet as soon as possible. Harry then put on sunglasses and a mask before going to the meeting. Harry reached the meeting, and everyone there treated him with respect because they knew how dangerous and skilled Jack was. They asked Harry why he does not kill Joe on 25th of last month. They told him he must finish his mission quickly, or if Ju went to the police, things would get messy. At that moment, we see man who had been secretly listening to the meeting. He then ordered his people to follow Harry. He wanted to find out where Ju was hiding and was determined to get the information quickly. As Harry back in his home, he got very angry thinking about his next move. The hero of the series was so jealous of Jack that, during a scene, he actually hit Jack on the head with a stick. Jack got very angry at this but smiled and asked if the take was good. A few days later, we see Harry following Jack. Finally, Jack stopped stopped him and asked, "Are you my fan?" Harry replied, "Yes, sir. I really admire you." Meanwhile, Jack and Lena were getting closer to each other. Anyway, the following Thursday, Ju was once again out on the street with her belongings. But this time, Harry decided to confront her. He said, "I'm a police officer sent here to protect you." But now Harry had genuinely fallen in love with Ju and wanted them to be together forever. Meanwhile, the henchman of the rich businessman sent pictures of Ju and Harry to their boss, who ordered both of them to be killed. The next day, Jack was invited by Lena and her family for a picnic. They all had a great time together, and Jack, looking up at the sky, said he was starting to enjoy this life. But later that night, heavy rain started on their way home. A song played on the radio, triggering Jack's memories of his past life. He began recalling moments before his accident, including the fact that he was a professional assassin. Determined, Jack went straight to meet Ju, but Harry thought Jack was there to kill her. Harry tried to stop him, but Jack revealed that he wasn't actually a killer. Instead, whenever the underworld placed a bounty on someone, Jack would meet the target and inform them about the death contract. He then suggested they fake their deaths and suggest them to start a new life far away. This way, Jack managed to keep both sides happy without taking anyone's life. Jack explained that someone had hired him to kill Ju because she possessed a secret flash drive that could ruin a rich businessman's empire. Jack told Ju she had to leave the country to stay safe, but Ju refused, saying she couldn't leave Harry behind because his life was also in danger. Harry told her to go and not worry about him, as he was already tired of life. However, Jack came up with a plan for all three of them to fake their deaths and start new lives. Before the plan, Jack met Lena one last time and confessed that his memory had returned. He told her he was leaving everything and couldn't stay with her. Hurt and angry, Lena said she didn't care about his past and loved him for who he was now. Still, Jack left, but Lena decided to follow him in an ambulance. Jack reached the warehouse where the plan was to take place. Ju and Harry were already there, but the businessman's men were watching closely. Harry acted as though he had been pretending to love Ju all along to gain her trust. He staged a scene where he killed Ju and threw the flash drive toward the henchmen. As one of them moved to retrieve it, Jack appeared, leaving everyone stunned. They quickly realized Jack was another killer they had hired, as they had called multiple assassins. Jack and Harry pretended to fight while performing flawlessly, but Lena suddenly appeared, disrupting the plan. Jack tried to push her away, but she refused to leave. Lena knocked Jack's fake knife out of his hand. Jack signaled Harry to use the fake knife hidden in his boot. Harry attacked as planned, and Jack pulled Lena behind him to make it seem like the attack hit her. Ju pressed a button, dropping a massive container on top of them. The henchmen inspected the scene, believing everyone was dead, as fake blood poured out from under the container. Once the henchmen left, Jack, Ju, Harry, and Lena emerged alive. Ju and Harry confessed their love for each other and embraced, while Jack followed Lena to the ambulance. There, he revealed his true age is 45. Lena didn't say much and dropped him off at his TV set. During filming, Jack delivered his lines as if he were speaking directly to Lena. He said he should probably leave, but he couldn't because he had fallen in love and wanted to erase his old self to stay with her. Lena was overjoyed, and their lives finally fell into place. With their love stories settled, this chapter ends here. See you in the next video. Take care, bye-bye.